There came a turning, there was a moment when all was known. You could feel beauty rising on the breeze that shapes the stone, and I would ride upon the breeze that shapes the stone across the sky and beyond, to that place where all is known. When I could fly, when I could fly down that road in dusty light by the stream that's always low, I would climb on the shoulders of...
Hi, my name is Sue Skaskew with Vermont Volunteer Services for Animals Humane Society, and welcome to our show, For the Animals. Today we're in St. Albans, Vermont, with Rusty. She's the Executive Director. Could you please tell us about the shelter, the name and location?
Yes, we are known as the Franklin County Animal Rescue. We're located in St. Albans, Vermont, right off exit 18 and 19. We've been at this facility for now 20 years, and I'm happy to say that when this facility opened, I started working here, so I've been...
It's been that long.
It's been that long. It's been a great 20 years.
Do you know, I've got to tell you, Rusty, I remember your name when you first came into the humane world up here.
Yes.
And let me tell you, this woman came with great references. A little bit about your background?
Basically, I am an animal lover from when I was a very small child. I saved everything that I could.
Yep.
But when I came or moved back up to Vermont, because I'm from Montpelier, I decided that I really wanted to do something that would affect the animals in my community. I had worked at a veterinary clinic when I lived in Texas, and I volunteered at shelters down in that area. And when I came back, I actually was a truck dispatcher for years. But when I came back up, I came in and applied for the job. I saw the job, and I, at the time, was working at IBM, and I said, I really want to do something that matters. And I came in, I met the board, this building was just being built, and I'm just blessed that through all the applicants, they decided to go ahead and let me be here and let this be my life, which it has been along with my family. This is my life.
I've always heard great things about this particular shelter, so thank you.
Great. We try.
Were you ever involved in law enforcement?
Well, actually, I was in the military police when I was in the service. I was in the Navy, so I had some experience with military police.
I just have to point out this cat, and we knew this when we chose the spot to sit. So this girl is up for adoption, and she's obviously wants attention.
She loves attention. They all do.
I love this setup in here, and we'll do a little span, but there's a cat door that goes outside, and there's a cat tail on the inside. But it's wonderful.
Yeah, I love this room. And when this building was first built, this was a conference room. And we had a much smaller room for the cats, which was totally enclosed. And I think we were probably 8 months into having like 3 meetings here, and I said, you know what? I want these cats to be able to look outside and see the light.
Sure.
And we just switched things around, and that's the way it's been ever since. It's just a great open room for those that want to free roam, and they free roam 24 hours in this area. And those who want a little more privacy or separate little housing ability, they get their own little cages with their beds, and always food, always water, and always love.
That's great. Well, I have some questions for you that I think are really, really good questions.
Yes.
So let's see. Your job title, we know you're the Executive Director.
Yes.
Okay. On a typical day, what do you do? Do you have a set routine?
You know, you try to have a set routine in this environment, but, you know, the best laid plans don't seem to happen.
Right.
Basically, we're just here. We're a very good team. I'm happy to say that many of the employees or staff that we have here have been here in excess of 5 to 7 years. So their dedication is to these animals. That speaks volumes, I believe. This shelter... I come in the morning, of course, I check my emails. I do that 24/7, check my phone messages, you know, which are key, because if we aren't here and something happens. So we just pretty much come in the morning. I have just my daily rounds with the staff to find out who's new, because we do have drop boxes here for animal control. Drop the animals off after hours so they come into a safe environment.
Now, excuse me, is it just cats or cats and dogs?
Cats and dogs.
Okay.
We are probably about a 70% cat to 30% dog shelter.
Okay.
It's just the nature of the area. We're a very rural area. We have a lot of barn cats. We have a lot of free roaming cats, things like that. So yeah, pretty much 70-30.
That's great.
Yeah.
How many towns do you serve?
We have contracts actually with 13 towns.
Wow.
Where they, each one, or most of them, have animal control officers, and our contracts are done on an annual basis to take in cats and dogs. However, in the past they contracted for both cats and dogs, and because of the pet overpopulation of cats in this area, many of the towns dismissed the cat part and just went with the dog. So we now only have four towns that act toward town and our city here that actually help us fund for the cats coming in.
And you know, cats in other towns as well are like second-class citizens, and it breaks my heart because they're covered under our statutes.
Yeah.
They need protection, and when I hear that some towns aren't doing anything, the animals lose.
The animals lose, and many of them refer them just to us and say this is our job. And yes, we are here to protect those animals that we can, but we do have finite walls here, and you know, and we have so much space. We're lucky enough that now we have bought another facility, so we can expand. It's been 20 years coming, and really needed to happen back in the 90s. But we're here now. And we never refuse an animal if we have space. And all of our animals stay here as long as they need to. I know, you're one of them. All of our animals stay here regardless of time or health. They just stay until we find them homes.
That's great. And you do, okay, so if you have a sick cat, you do provide.
We do.
You know, and that's one thing that I think speaks to your credit, because too many times when shelters say we're no-kill, it's because of health or personality. Health can be fixed most times.
Yes.
And if not, thank God, we've got the ability to humanely euthanize.
Yes.
Not that we ever want that the first option. But I was so impressed when some humane societies had animal behaviorists working there.
You do.
You do?
We do.
Oh, Rusty.
We have people that come in. We actually have right now 3 people that come in that are that are certified, and they come in and help volunteer, especially when we have those animals that come in that we know are going to need that special attention. We know that they're going to need, you know, to be focused on, and they come in, do it. We actually have a woman that comes in and does Reiki for our animals, which I think is really. I mean, I was at first skeptical. I thought, well, I don't know. But in seeing the results, it was fantastic. And she comes in and she does the Reiki, and it's amazing, both for cats and dogs.
We've had a woman who's done Reiki and has volunteered in different humane societies, and she came to my house and worked with 3 cats that were very feral. By the time she sat down and did her half-hour session, the cats were next to the cage, next to her, with eyes half closed. It was absolutely incredible.
Oh, it is. It is. We love it. We have it here, mostly for our dogs, but, you know, she's willing to go ahead and do it with our cats, too. But we've had a couple dogs that I really think have benefited from it.
Sure.
And then our trainers that come in, we're so lucky to have trainers that come in and work with the dogs. They come in after hours, and they all have jobs, but they come in here because they know that's part of the process to go ahead and be able to get these animals great homes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It really is. Okay. I know. Who is this speaking to us?
Which one is it, Arnold?
I think it's the little tortie.
The little tortie? Is that Melinda? I think it might be Melinda. Is that Melinda? I can't even see it with my glasses on.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. Okay, so how did you find yourself working here? What drew you back to Vermont?
Well, I had moved south. I was in the service and was stationed down in Pensacola, Florida, and then went to dental A school out in San Diego, but was indoctrinated into the service in Gretna, Louisiana, right across the river from New Orleans. And
were you there for Katrina?
I was not there. However, I do have friends that actually came from different vet clinics up here that went down there. I can be a very emotional person, so I was basically told, Rusty, don't. But I live there, and my ex-husband actually is from New Orleans, so I can be so empathetic to all those people and the tragedies. But one thing that did come out of it is making evacuation plans that can involve people's animals, which I think is so key.
Yes.
We have to. These are our family members, and many people, this is their family.
Yeah.
So that did come out of that tragedy, and I hope we all can learn from that as far as evacuation plans when you're doing it for your shelter, and having a safe place for the animals to go along with the people.
I went down for a week, and I had nightmares every night for the next 3 months. I was sick as a dog because we slept on the ground, and they did spraying every night. And it was by the ninth ward, St. Bernard Parish, and you could hear the gunshots in the distance. It's
surreal. It really, really is. And kudos to LSU in Baton Rouge for supplying all that area for the animals we transported to. They did a great service for that, and so many people came through, and some of the stories are just heart-wrenching when you hear them, and
I can't even,
when they're reunited, it's amazing.
I gotta tell you, we brought 2 batches of animals up, and we reunited 3, and one cat who belongs to a woman, I still hear from her every few months. This cat was the love of her life, but this cat was a little you couldn't even tell Siamese because they were so covered in the red dust, and she was so incredibly aggressive. I would go in to feed her, and I still have scars from her. She would go in the back of the corn with her little ears flattened, and we'd put the food down, and she'd like snap it. It was like, you are a princess. You are owned by somebody. So when I was able to choose, I selected her as one of the cats, and to her grandson's credit, he kept doing the Google search and found the cat and called up. She called up and she said, "You may have my cat." And I said, "Well, can you describe her?" She said, "Oh, yes." And she talked about her color, and I said, "Well, this cat may not be because of the color." And I said, "I have a whole array of food down. What does she eat?" "Oh, she only eats," it's a temptation something. I hadn't tried that. And I said, "Does she scratch?" And she said, "Oh, yes, that's my boo-boo." I said, "That's your cat then." We were able to get her down, and I gotta tell you, when we sent her down, she was at the airport waiting and waving, and when the box was open, she looked in and she said, "That's not my boo-boo." And everybody's heart sank. But she picked the cat up because, like I said, the fur was stained. She picked Boo Boo up and put her head right under her arm, and she said, "It's my cat."
Yeah, my cat.
Oh, it was Boo Boo.
Yeah.
It was just wonderful. She's recently passed away. But I asked her and I said, "Can you tell me how you got separated from your cat? In other words, how could you be?" And she said, "You have to understand, we get these warnings all the time. And so we put our animals up, where we think they're going to be safe." Nobody had any idea of the magnitude.
No.
And that was her biggest fear, not her house, not anything.
No.
So
That's material things, but your family's your family.
Yeah, and I've got to tell you, do you ever watch Pit Bulls and Bulls?
Yes.
I love that show, and they just moved.
Yeah, they're in Louisiana. I mean, it's a dream of all of our staff to go down there and just meet this woman because she's amazing. I've watched quite a few of the programs, and of course, in our area up here, we now deal with quite a few pit bulls.
I love them.
We have when we look at our board out there right now, I have 4 here right now, our pit bull crosses. And they're incredible. We have YouTube videos of when the Girl Scouts come and make their cookies. 9 out of 10 times it's one of our pit bull little buddies that goes out there, rolls over, exposes the tummy, and they do the rubber tummies, and there's nothing like it. Plus they get the best kisses, I have to say.
I know
they do.
This is an absolutely great setup. And this is the area where the cats have access to a caged-in area outside. And they've got an awful lot of light in here, nice and cheery. And the cats are all very curious and beautiful.
It records everything.
Oh,
Kitty, kitty.
There they are. There's a little couple. There's the happy couple.
So the one on the left
This is Jonah. He's been with us 4 years.
and he's your house cat.
He's the house cat. He's been to 2 amazing homes, goes up in the rafters, and we've had to rescue him.
Yeah.
Comes in here, this is him. This is him.
Look at the face. I think that's an adoring face.
He's a very wise man. And this is Fiona. And Fiona actually came in with kittens. And then I think she thinks Jonah's one of her kittens because she literally holds him and grooms him all the time. But she does like his food. So we have to watch that, huh?
Hey, sweetie. That was right on cue. Hi.
Tour.
We're coming back in. We just left one cat room and found another one that's a little bit quieter. This is a busy place, which speaks well.
Oh, it's
the
great.
work you do.
Yeah, we like it busy.
Yeah, for sure. How many animals do you have right now, roughly?
We're at about 75 cats, and we're happy to say with our 15 dog adoptions this last month.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, we did 90 adoptions in November from this facility of cats, dogs, kittens, and puppy.
Are they all spayed and neutered before they go out?
Everyone's spayed and neutered. Yeah, we're lucky enough to have an in-house veterinarian that does all of our spaying and neutering for all of our animals and tends to all their medical needs. So we operate that clinic 3 days a week.
And you said that's in a different building?
Yeah, we just took a leap in January because it was very necessary because the demand was great and we had a very small room. We were doing surgeries in here.
Yeah.
So we bought another building and we're retrofitting it, and eventually all the cats will be in that building along with our low-cost spay and neuter clinic. And then we're going to be having a great campaign to make this a total dog facility.
Good
We're
for
excited.
You. Very, but with cats too.
With a holding area for cats, but mostly all dogs. Our other facility is going to have house all of our cats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a big undertaking, but
yeah,
we're starting the process right now, and we're committed to making it happen.
How many towns or counties do you serve?
Oh, we serve 13 towns.
Okay.
We are Franklin County Animal Rescue, but we do go above and beyond when the need be. We try to help out as much as we can and work in coordination with all the different shelters in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's the most rewarding part of your job?
I think the most rewarding part of my job is seeing an animal that comes into the shelter, especially ones that come in with special needs, and being able to help them, get them to trust people again, and ultimately have them go into a family. And we've already started getting those beautiful Christmas cards with a picture of the whole family and the dog with the Santa Claus hat on.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of people that actually come back after they've adopted, and we do socialization classes here, and they come back in to help with the younger dogs that need more socialization. And just having people come back and joining us on Facebook and sending pictures of when the animals go home, and there's nothing like that. It's amazing. I can honestly say that most all my cat staff, even when we have upwards of 100 animals in here, sometimes we run out of names. We've done trees, we've done flowers, we've done car parts, we've done everything.
I love it. That's a great idea.
And we also, whenever we have groups of, we have a lot of like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, we have Eagle Scouts do projects for us, but they come in, and one of the things I ask them to do is create a list of names, and then we draw that from the kids, and then the kids come back and visit. And they come in and they'll see Mariah, and they'll say, I named that cat. It's just wonderful.
You have an awesome marketing.
Yes. Well, it's a great...
Or ideas that flow here.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to. Because
Yeah.
you're their voice. They meow very loudly,
Yeah.
but sometimes people can't hear them, so we have to be their voice.
Yeah. I hear somebody right behind the camera.
And I'm trying to think which
A
one.
beautiful little...
Right now they're having their little pate break.
Okay. Very nice.
Don't mess them when they're having the pate break. And obviously, I think these two little ones over here are having a little problem because they're pushing their little plates out of their cage. So they're probably just asking, can you please help us out?
Plates push back
There
in.
you go.
I really like these questions, and you know what? Tell me where they came from, because I think that's a good credit to the school and to you.
Yeah, we had the community college here in St. Albans, and we do a lot of job shadowing for different agencies, NCSS and the high schools. NCSS is basically for adult learning and sometimes the youth trying to move up in getting a skill. And we've had actually 2 of my employees came through that program, and after their 6 months of on-the-job training, we hired them because they were fantastic, and they are still with us today. So NCSS and the community college, they come in, they have like thesis that they have to do, or they have to do job shadowing, and we work with a lot of the community for job shadowing and know how important it is. Not to mention, it helps us out.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win situation for the animals, for them moving forward in their lives and be able to hold down a job and feel productive.
Yeah.
And what better place to do it than working with all these great animals, knowing you're making a difference.
Well, that's where these questions came from, and they are awesome, so
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of time before I have a chance to ask them. What do you find are the toughest problems and decisions that you have to face in your work?
Oh, there's a few. I think probably the biggest problem is just that we have finite walls, and we wish we could do more. The community education is so important. We go out to the school systems, and I think it's very, very important. And basically just getting the word out. We have pretty good media contacts, but there's a lot of people in St. Albans that don't even know we're here. And people will say, oh, I just think it's disgusting when they drop an animal off at your front door and then walk away. And I said, well, you know, we've thought about it over the years, you know, do we put in cameras? And I'm thinking, you know what, if they weren't dropped out here, they'll be dropped out somewhere, Fairfield Pond or something like that, where they don't have a chance.
Once they've emotionally separated,
Yeah.
it's not good to leave an animal in a home.
No.
I know.
I mean, it's also very difficult. Economically, a lot of people, we have had people coming in here that are living in their vehicles because of hard times. And
It's a tough part of the state to live in
It
your
is.
vehicle, especially in the winter.
Yeah, and we just had one this week. The gentleman, when you know, you ask the questions because we like to meet the animals obviously before they come in, just to make sure that we can really work with them and everything else. But we had a gentleman that came in and he said that the reason I said, you live in St. Albans? And he goes, I did. And I said, where are you living now? And he goes, in my car. And you know, when you hear something like that, it breaks your heart.
Do you have a shelter in town for humans?
Yes, we do.
Are they allowed to take animals in?
No, but we work with them. There are some individuals, especially when you have children involved. We deal also with Voices Against Violence individuals, and sometimes the animals are the reason they stay in situations like this.
I know.
And we have had a couple of circumstances where we've helped them out in that respect, knowing how important that animal is to them. They're nurturing, you know. They help.
It's a full circle with so many pieces of the pie, isn't it?
Very much so.
Oh. What skills are most important to possess in your profession?
Empathy,
Yes.
kindness, being responsible, and follow through. I think those are really important things. If you make that commitment to whether it be an individual that you're working with or an animal that you're working with, you have to follow through and draw from whoever can help you make that happen.
Yeah.
And I think empathy is very important. When people come in here with a story, you never condemn anyone. You know that there are extenuating circumstances, that it's life.
Yeah.
But you try to help them as best they can, and if they want to move forward and make sure their animals are cared for, you have to be empathetic to them and wish them well.
Do they ever get, if they fall on hard times and their animal has not been adopted, does it get, have you ever had to go back to them with them?
No. No. I will be very happy to say that I have on a couple of occasions. Actually, they're surrendered to us because we can't indefinitely tie up a cage in hopes that something's going to happen immediately. But I have had two that I can think of in the last year. Situations where the animals were here, they weren't vetted, so we had to vet them and do some work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass that they got back on their feet, they got a place to live, and we checked out all the situations and became like someone that can go ahead and help them in this process. And it's come back twofold because they now come back in and volunteer.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Our pet food pantry, we run a pet food pantry here. I'm happy to say that we have not had to buy food for any of our animals and can still maintain a pet food pantry. People fill out their applications, and one of the things that's so important when they fill out their applications is they have to list all the animals that they have in their home, and we will supply food for them as long as we have the food to supply. And sometimes we run short, but we always tell them, come back next week and things might be better. We get donations from a lot of the area places. We have some food companies that are in our area that help us out. And they come in, they fill it out, and when they fill out the application, if they have unspayed and unneutered animals, we automatically say, we have an option for you, which is the VSNP program, which we're so thrilled to have in the state of Vermont. I think it's amazing, and I mean, I've traveled a lot, and I have family in other states, and I always go and promote Vermont for getting this program started to help people, and to help with the pet overpopulation, and also the well-being of the animals and the protection of the people in their community.
Yeah.
For the rabies shots and everything else.
It is wonderful. We, VBSA, as you know, got the contract back again a few months ago, but we started the first statewide spay-neuter assistance program in 1983, but officially in 1986 with one veterinarian, and then we went to another office and another and another, and then 13 years ago we decided we're not going to be around forever to do this, so we took legislation, a draft to the State House, our idea, we copied New Hampshire's law, and within one session we got VSNP created, which is the Vermont Spay-Neuter Incentive Program, and we administered it for the first 7 years, and then it went out to a contract that only did it for 1 out of the 2 years, and then to the state, and now we have it back again. But if anybody has an animal, a cat or dog, at this time, I'm hoping to get rabbits. We have so many calls coming for rabbits.
It's amazing. There are some rehabilitators for rabbits, but Rabbit Rescue pulled out of Vermont, and they were key. And they are no longer here. And there's a lot of people that have rabbits. A lot of the complaint calls we get on are on rabbits. And I'm lucky that I have a couple people that I can contact. But just literally the idea of getting them spayed or neutered, it's exorbitant. I think very few vets do it.
I think we should try and address that in this legislative session. But if you feel that you're income eligible, if you're 185% or below the federal poverty level, or if you're on a state assistance program, Section 8, heating assistance, food benefits, please apply for an application. You can do that by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope. That means you take an envelope, please a business size, write it out to yourself, put a stamp on it, fold it up, and mail it to us. And we'll put the address up, but it's VSNP, P.O. Box 104 in Bridgewater, Vermont, of course, 05034. And right now we have about 90 points of service throughout the state where folks can take their animals to get them spayed and neutered. So